What is going on, everybody? My name is Bleeves,
I'm Maddie.
and we're here to talk about the Chicago draft. Now, look, if you follow me, if you've been tuning in every day, we're on at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we've been talking about the news. We've been talking about free agency. We've been talking about the draft. We've been talking about individual player for performance and what we think is going to happen with all of these different people, and uh, it's all around your Chicago Bears. So we're going to talk today about the 2024 NFL draft. We're going to go over the draft order so that you have an idea of where the Bears have an opportunity to pick. And then we're going to talk about where we would fit each one of these players in. And with that being the case, Maddie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just, getting antsy. How are you doing?
I am super excited. In fact, every day brings a new revelation for the Chicago Bears about who's going to be chosen number one. We had
Mhm.
consensus, I want to say 2 weeks ago. Then we had this weird flow
Right.
that changed the direction and the dynamic. And now we're getting a moment in time where there's some dissension amongst players. There's not the players that we have, but this dissension among who's going to get selected, and things have become very interesting. And the people who would normally do this, like myself, that do this stuff on a daily basis, they're now looking at these lists and they're like, you know what, this could be a creative way to do it. So it's been very, very interesting. And as a matter of fact, your selections are way different today than they would have been just a short while ago. So why don't you go over, first of all, let's recognize at present, the Chicago Bears have the number one overall pick and the number nine pick.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that we're going to focus on right now. And the question for the number one pick, why do you hate Justin Fields? Oh, wait, that's not the question. The question is, can Justin Fields be that guy for Chicago? That's the question. And I think the answer is yes. What do you think?
I think it is too. And I'm a fan of the Bears. So I'm always going to believe in every player, unless they really do suck. And then I want them gone, like Vellis Jr. But one of my concerns is, and it always comes down to like gaining a profit from the draft and stuff like this. My only concern, and I think it's a valid question, is if he was good enough, would we not already have our definite answer?
Let me let me posit this then.
Wait, let me pause too, though, because I'm not bashing him. I'm not bashing him. I think he is capable. Like, of course, I'm a fan. I can't really analyze every single thing, but I think it's a valid question that, maybe people ask if he really is the guy that could lead us to the playoffs next year and then the Super Bowl in 2025. Would we really be debating this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Give me your reason why.
The reason why is because let me ask you a question. Who's better than Tom Brady in the NFL all time?
No one.
Okay. Who's second?
You know, honestly, probably Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. And what about third?
All time? I don't know. I love Peyton Manning. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Actually, you did exactly what I thought you were going to do.
Oh
You
God, I hope
you
that's a
you've
good thing.
taken you've taken two of look, and here's the thing. These are two incredible quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and even Patrick Mahomes. A couple years ago, within the last, 7 years, 8 years, they've all been active players. We have we can see the talent on the field. Who's number four?
Hmm.
You're blanking because you have no idea, just like everybody else.
Okay,
There
yeah,
are
very fair.
there are a few guys who are just transcendent quarterbacks. Okay. Peyton Manning was selected number one. Patrick Mahomes was the third quarterback selected in his draft. And Tom Brady was selected, pick number, what was that, 175,
Yeah.
176. So we farmed real far to find the best quarterback of all time. We went into midway to late in the first round to find Patrick Mahomes. The only one of them that was a number one overall pick was Peyton Manning. So I would say that the people who are telling you what to think or who are telling me what to think, I don't think they know anything. I think that they're just guessing like us. So
Yeah.
why is their guess any better than my guess or our guess, or, so we can see the product on the field. We can see the talent that each one of these people have. We can see the drawbacks and we can see the limitations. The question is, can a team overcome those perceived limitations and problems that might exist? Because at the end of this, at the end of all of this, guess what? There's only one Tom Brady. There's only one Peyton Manning. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, you put him way up there real early without scope, without, by the way, I might add, going directly to Aaron Rodgers, who is most probably one of the more, without your eye rolling, one
I
of the
know.
more accurate quarterbacks of all time.
No,
So,
I agree. He was going to be, it was either between him and Peyton Manning, but I can't give him the benefit of the doubt. So,
but once you get past a certain level, then the field gets very, very muddy. Now, could it be that maybe, just maybe, um, some of these people, and by the way, some of these guys don't blossom all at once. Do you know that we look at Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth was the all-time strikeout leader, struck out more than anybody else in history, but we don't remember him as that. We remember him as the home run king
yeah.
until Barry Bonds came along, until Roger Maris came along. Well, the thing about Peyton Manning is we look at him and we put him in that upper echelon of top threes, reasonably speaking. We put him in the top three. But here's the thing. Peyton Manning had 27 interceptions in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Not everything shines up the way you want it to before you have that opportunity to make it all happen. And look, there's gonna be a lot of people that will watch this video who are gonna say, "Whoa, you can't be well, just because Peyton Manning did that doesn't mean that Justin Fields has it. You see the talent on the field, you know exactly what he does. You know he's got a 33.4 rating in the fourth
uh,
quarter. It's not like this guy can do it, right?" Well, I prefer to look at a 112 quarterback rating in the first quarter, a 98 in the second quarter, and an 89 in the third quarter, and say, you know, this guy actually can do the job really well, but we have to solve an issue. That issue is, what's wrong with the fourth quarter? What's up with that? Why is it that this is happening? Could it be in part that the problem was how we played the game in the fourth quarter, how we ran our system in the fourth quarter? Because if you go back and break it down even further, and if, by the way, if you missed today's live stream that I had, I actually broke this down, and you find that in the that this is not a very simple question to answer. I thought, and then I went back and I looked, and it turns out it was real easy. It was 3 games that gave Justin Fields this horrible, horrible rating. A game where we were behind, a game where we were compelled to have to come back. It was the Cleveland Browns, but number one defense in the league, by the way.
I knew.
Cleveland Browns. It was Detroit when we kind of collapsed at the end of the game against Detroit, where we were not playing to win. I think pretty much everybody decided we weren't playing to win the game. We were just playing to play the game. For
Yeah.
whatever we were doing was not correct. So there's pieces here. And, if you don't like Justin Fields, if you don't like the product that you see on the field with Justin Fields, it's easy for you to look at what I'm saying right here and dismiss it and say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." But you don't know what you're talking about either. None of us do.
Yeah.
All of us have to see how this builds and can we develop this guy. And I think that this guy can be developed into the first quarter Justin Fields because we see the talent, or the second quarter Justin Fields because that guy's still super talented too. We can't take this fourth quarter that, again, comes down to 3 games. We can't take this fourth quarter Justin and say, "Oh, he sucks because the fourth quarter." And I mean, it's true that that wasn't very good, but in some way, somehow, we have to be able to look and say, maybe he's just average at the end of games. Maybe he's not ever going to be great, and maybe he's a game manager when the game's on the line. But the Bears gave up 38 points in the first game. They gave up 40 points in another game. They give up a lot of points early on and put him in a bad situation for a team that, by coaching standards, was not ready to even compete
Yeah.
at the beginning of this season. Like, there's a lot of obstacles that he had. And if you go ask Chase Daniels, if you go ask Chris Sims, if you go ask, do you remember Andy or Carson Palmer? You know who
No,
Carson Palmer is, right? He was a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time.
I don't
And
know.
Carson Palmer's brother, Jordan Palmer, is also a quarterback analyst.
Okay.
All of these guys love Justin Fields. You know who doesn't love Justin Fields? The Chicago fans who just want an elite super quarterback. They want the greatest quarterback of all time because they're jealous of Aaron Rodgers.
You know, I Bears Twitter is a hilarious place to
Yeah.
be. I think it truly is. It always makes me laugh, but it also infuriates me. It infuriates me because my issue with the like Caleb Williams situation and versus Justin Fields, like what are we trying to do here, people? Like, what are we even arguing? Like, I just don't get it. Prospects are not guaranteed, and I will argue this in any sport. Prospects are not guaranteed. No matter what they do in college, they come to the majors, and it's a completely different situation. Baseball is a great example. You could be great in the minors and not be able to hit a ball in the majors. It's because it's a different speed. It's a different game. And when it comes to football too, like I mean, we're comparing Caleb Williams' stats and what he does in college, which the Pac-12 is. They had a very there. It's relatively competitive. No one's not arguing that, but it's still a very different level, and we're putting Caleb Williams on this pedestal that I mean, who's going to reach that? No, there people are expecting him to lead us to a Super Bowl playoffs right away, and again, he is a rookie, and CJ Stroud is an example where rookies can do it, but Justin Fields is just as talented. I don't like the argument that like we have to build the entire roster and cater to him. I just don't think his seeds were planted right in a way. Um, so it's very interesting. Bears Twitter, if you're not on that, you should get on that if you need a laugh, especially. But there's no guarantee in any situation. Even if we keep Justin Fields, we can't guarantee shit that's gonna happen. But like you said weeks ago, months ago, like it does come down to money too, and what does Ryan Poles really want to do with that money situation? Next year, Justin Fields won't be as expensive, but then he's going for that contract season, right? So, and then we lose out on Caleb Williams, who is supposedly the best quarterback prospect we've seen in years. So I don't know. That's why I'm not a general manager. That's why no one on Twitter is a general manager. But it'll be very interesting.
A lot of capital is placed upon what people's opinions are of college players without the realization of the ups and downs. You only talk about what you see on the field. And if
Yeah.
that were the case, allow me to be the first to tell you that the greatest quarterback in the history of football, the greatest quarterback to ever play this game would be Johnny Manziel. The greatest quarterbacks to play
Because
this game would be Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. The
of
greatest
their college,
quarterbacks
right?
to ever play would be Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
All of these people, like that's where you get people. And look, if you've dug yourself into the argument that Caleb Williams is better than Justin Fields, I can't talk you out of it. I can't fix your broken brain if that's what you said, because and not to mean that it really is broken, but the point is I can't convince you otherwise. Justin Fields is the guy that would have to convince you otherwise. And as Chicago, you can be mad, but guess what? You don't have a choice. You're going to have to give him a chance
Yeah.
because you're not the one picking in this draft. So we're going to see what they do, and then we'll have some clarity. And I think we're all, at the end of the day, Bears fans, and some of us are very jaded. We've been through Smoke and Jay. We've been through Bad Rex. We've been through everybody since Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
We've seen the problems. We even saw Mitch Trubisky look like a hero until Double Doink came along. I mean, there, and there, we all, what we want is we want success, and we all feel like there's a different way to get it. We all feel like there's another guy, and there's this better guy because something didn't work the right way one day for whatever it was we were looking for. We didn't get it the right way. So here's what I would say. We have to decide because we're going to do this draft right now. So we have to decide. We have the number one pick. With the number one overall pick, Maddie, what are you going to do with the number one pick?
If I was general manager,
Uh-huh.
I mean, trade down so I can give the number one pick to Washington and then take Marvin Harrison Jr. at number two. That would be ideal. And then I would go for an edge rusher. And I learned that from you. I'm learning all these things. And I would take the guy from Alabama. Um,
Could be Dallas Turner. Well, let's just go with the first pick here. Let's go with the first pick here because I like what you're saying because you have a choice here. You have a choice between two people who are considered to be generational talents. Okay?
generational, like,
Right. Everybody's a generational talent until they get to the NFL. You have Caleb Williams, who's out here. And look, I could make knocks about Caleb Williams. I could tell you that there are a growing number of people who are telling me that Drake May is as good, if not better, than Caleb Williams for the NFL because he's bigger, he's more accurate,
yeah.
and he can play this game at a higher level. Now, is that the case? I don't know that that's the case. I also have another person who's telling me that, and this is an NFL scout, formerly for the New York Jets, who says Caleb Williams is broken inside, that he's never experienced uh, adversity. And when he has experienced adversity, he ended up on the sidelines crying to his mother. He ended up painting his fingernails with FUCKUCLA. And to me, by the way, that to me means you're a kid. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
rivalry stuff. I don't think that that's a reason
I
to
don't think that is either.
diss anybody, but I would say that if you've never dealt with adversity, how are you going to deal with how are
Chicago
you going to
sports.
deal with a constant rush from the NFL on a team that, might be way better, but it's still kind of in a building pattern? Is this offensive line going to be up to snuff? Is it not? So, you don't know what it is that you're going to get out of Caleb Williams. And I will point out that the reaction time, and I had somebody in the chat today that said, "Oh, you must not be looking at stats." Well, I'd spend my day looking at stats. Roto stats showed me that Justin Fields was a better and a quicker read in his first season than in his third season by like a half a second. Like it was a ridiculous amount, right? He was much better at getting the ball out in his first season. The only difference between then and now is Luke Getsy.
So
So
clearly he's capable of it.
right. So let's put that in the pipe for just a moment and say that, maybe Justin Fields is not broken. Maybe that is the case. Now go look at the reaction time for Tyson Bagent in his half when Justin Fields got injured, and then in his first game, and then go look at his last game and see how much slower his reaction time was and how he was questioning. These guys were a product of a problem.
Yeah.
And that problem appears to be not Luke Getsy. I don't want to say that Luke Getsy was the problem, but the way Luke Getsy was preparing this offense and the fact that he was not understanding the strengths of the quarterback that he had. I think that was a problem
Mhm.
because I also want to say that the reason that Justin Fields has a 112 quarterback rating in the first quarter is also because of Luke Getsy. So Caleb Williams represents, to me, an unknown. So I would also trade down to the 2 or the 3, and I would try to make Washington and New England fight over who
Okay.
wants that number 1 pick, because I do have at least a pretty reasonable assumption here that between Caleb Williams and Drake May, they want them 1 and 2. Those are the 2 big guys on the board. But here's the thing. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a generational talent. And I put out a video today on Marvin Harrison that really kind of lays out how much you would be missing out as a team if you did not draft Marvin Harrison Jr. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. He has the work ethic of his father, given to him by his father, a Hall of Fame NFL receiver with 1,121 receptions for, I want to say, 14,580 yards, 124 touchdowns, and 13.2 yards per reception, if my memory serves me well. I did this earlier today. So, but this guy also,
You're a little
uh, I,
genius.
I went back and looked at old articles about him. You know what it was? It was work ethic. It was
Yeah.
all about his work ethic. Well, this guy Marvin Harrison Jr. is 4 inches taller, 20 pounds heavier at playing weight, and faster than his father. This is a
Wow.
generational talent, the likes of which you rarely get to see in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, to me, anybody passing, by the way, Caleb Williams could be a great player, by the way. Like, I'm not saying that he won't be,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that if you're taught in if you're taught in draft 101 to take the best player available, it is nonsense for you not to take this guy.
And
Now,
that's
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you. I think that's a very good point. I'm no draft guru, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's a good point, though. Is the draft not supposed to be like the best player overall, like going as number one or the top five? And you have to look at your roster then. Like realistically, let's say, I mean, Justin Fields is competing in the NFL. It's not like we need a quarterback. We are desperate for a quarterback. We can argue that we are desperate in the wide receiver area for sure in that depth. And I agree. The stats show like he at that wide receiver position is just so valuable. Whereas there is just something about the quarterback position in this draft that doesn't like spark a lot of people. Because I think if Caleb Williams was this top prospect in the quarterback, the number one prospect we've ever seen in years, wouldn't everyone be saying we should draft him? And like, wouldn't every analyst be like, okay, he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I would say that Justin Fields, being such a tremendous man and having such character and having a level of talent that we've rarely ever seen, even if it's untapped, having a level of talent that we've rarely seen, I think he makes the decision way more difficult. I think
Okay.
that's more important. And also, there's one more thing working against it, and that is we would be talking about Caleb Williams. We would be talking about Drake May. We would be talking about, oh my God, salivating. A lot more of us would, if it were not for this guy right here. We've seen enough Chicago Bears to know that we've got to have somebody who can just get open. Today, I threw some video out of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
It is astonishing how open he can get in a short passing game, which is exactly what's been missing from the Chicago Bears. And I don't mean the screen game that Luke Getzey liked to run.
Okay.
I don't mean the screen game. I mean a guy shooting a slant pattern and just getting open, shaking somebody like they don't exist. Now imagine, if you will, every team has a good cornerback at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if you had 2 elite receivers? You can't cover both of them. And if you can, you can't match up against Cole Kmet. He beats
Okay.
people. So you've now changed the dynamic of your team exponentially by you put your Jalen Ramsey, you put your Sauce Gardner on DJ Moore, or you put him on Marvin Harrison Jr., and then the other guy can just get open at will because he's not playing somebody nearly as talented. You've created a new paradigm for your team by bringing in this kind of character. So the question becomes, can Justin Fields live up to that kind of hype? And to me, the answer is a very simple yes. And if people don't see it, I can't just say, well, then you're an idiot, because
Yeah.
I understand. I saw the same product you did. I just recognized differently that there was a level of talent that was not being tapped into. So I would agree with you, and I would also take Marvin Harrison Jr. as I would try to draft down again, either number 2 or number 3, and get Marvin Harrison Jr. But that we both agree, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to just back up and say, you know what, Caleb Williams paints his nails, and I like that.
No, but I'm not going to judge him.
What if Caleb Williams grows a mustache?
Okay. No, no.
Okay,
No one's replacing the mustache there. But
all right.
I don't want to judge him off of those little things. Again, that's him. I just think like I've always been a Justin Fields fan and I don't know football like I'm no diehard football person. I don't analyze every single thing. I just think it was great to see Justin Fields progressively get better when he came back from his injury too.
Yep.
The team overall was better, but imagine what we can do with even better players that we can build around this off
Mhm.
season. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say I want Justin Fields always to be here. Like if Ryan Poles thinks that Caleb Williams is gonna get the job done, then okay, I'm a fan of the team. It is what it is. I just think I would prefer to see Marvin Harrison Jr. and then move on with Justin Fields.
And we are dealing with potential. So we could be wrong and it
Yeah,
would be okay. I mean, it would be okay. Look, we haven't won a Super Bowl in 37 years now. It's, waiting, well, 39 years now. It's okay if it takes one more year beyond that.
yeah,
So
I want to sometimes I feel like I'm very optimistic and I am an optimistic fan. We all know this. But I do understand people's frustrations and I do understand the concern then staying with Justin Fields because, he does have a fumbling problem and like you said the fourth quarter is a concern. And we
10
can all
fumbles this year, by the way.
how many?
10 fumbles in 13 games.
Well, I was gonna say it did get less as the season went on. The beginning was a little rocky, and he did have that one game where he had like those two fumbles, I think, and it was
Yeah, that's the game where he has a 40 quarterback rate, a 30 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter. That's again, that those are the moments where you're under that duress and you're under that pressure and you have to make something happen. And to be fair, like you're watching the game slip away and your offensive coordinator isn't really saying, "Hey, let's go win. Let's
yeah,
just go out here and not lose."
yeah,
That's
and
not
then
how you play.
and it causes him and the whole team, I think, to be very conservative overall and not like when I see them in their first drive of the first games, half the time I'm like, holy shit, we're about to drop 45 points right here. And then it gets slow and it's like okay well we know they're capable of it, why are we halting? But so I do understand why people are concerned, but the Bears always are drafting quarterbacks like why if you're so concerned as a fan would you not want to stick with what we are and build upon that?
I would think so, but again, not everybody is on
Yeah,
board.
hey,
80% of the
I'm
fans are on board.
them, but to each their own. But either way, of course, I'm still gonna cheer for the Bears. I don't care like that much. It ain't gonna define my fan how much I care.
Well, now that means that you got the number 9
Yeah,
pick on the radar, and you mentioned an edge rusher. Now
I learned that from you. I learned that from you. Okay, let's
now,
clarify that.
there's been a couple of different people that come up in the conversation. There's been for edge rusher, there's been Jared Verse, which is my favorite guy. Jared Verse
LSU.
from Florida State. There's been
Oh,
Dallas Turner. There's been Latu Latu from UCLA, and he's considered largely to be the number one guy.
okay.
But there are other guys that are in that mix. For example, Brock Bowers is considered a quote unquote generational tight end, that he's a guy who does everything that you want from a tight end. He's big, he's strong, he can get open in space. He can also block like nobody's business. Like this is a
But don't we have
very
Cole Komet and we just extended him?
that's a very big guy, but in today's NFL, we run a lot of 2 tight end sets.
Oh,
So, this is a guy who's out there and available. Now, you also have the offensive tackle in 2 different schools, Olu Fashanu, and Joe Alt. You have 2 guys that are available that could shore up your tackle position if you had decided that Braxton Jones was just not cutting it. Now, I prefer to keep Braxton Jones and give it one more season to see how he develops under Eric Washington, but other people have not. Now, I already know what your selection is for the number 9 pick.
yeah,
And I
Dallas.
think you already know who mine is.
Yeah,
Um,
Jared
but
Verse.
here's the thing. Now we have to consider we've got Marvin Harrison Jr. We've freed up the offense in some way, right? My ultimate would be picking up Marvin Harrison and Malik Nabers because that just absolutely changes the dynamic of any and every team. But now you got to look beyond, right? So you've got to pick number 9 right now. You're the GM. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna take the edge rusher. Yeah, Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner.
I just think when it comes to that, we're already building such a great defense. Why not add young talent into it? And I think he would go along great with Montez Sweat. So
Yep. What if I told you my choice, Jared Verse, grades out way higher than Dallas Turner? Could I sway you with that?
well, you could, and you've been saying that literally for the whole time we have been doing this channel. So you for sure could. I just, was looking and reading articles and I thought the Alabama guy was pretty awesome.
Well, and to be fair, none of what I just said was true.
Oh,
Dallas Turner and Jared Verse seem to be at this point interchangeable, but there's another guy that neither of us looked at, and that was Latu Latu, which is the guy
yeah,
from UCLA
idea.
who was graded out as the best edge rusher in this class. So I disagree with that, but there's been a lot of talk that Jared Verse, and Dallas Turner are just like Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, and Malik Nabers, in that these are three really, really good players at a very needed position.
Yeah.
So I think that my guy is definitely Jared Verse.
Yeah, you've been saying that for
Your
sure.
guy's Dallas Turner. The wild card, who many people still consider to be better, is the Watu Latu. So now the question is going to be, what happens at the combine? I'm going to be swayed in my decision by what I see coming out of the combine. There's going to be some interviews. They're going to talk to these guys, see what's in their head. They're going to see the physical gifts and see how these guys measure up. And we're going to know about it, by the way. So I think that very rapidly we're going to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jared Verse doesn't have it. Maybe it's Latu that has it, or maybe Dallas Turner shows up big time. So I'm going to reserve. I'm going to say Jared Verse for now. I'm going to reserve my judgment really until we get to
The combine.
until we get through the combine, and then we get a little closer to the draft, and we know, and then free agency opens up. I want to say on March 13th. Maybe we start filling some holes. What if we go out and we get a Chase Young? What if we go out and get a Bryce Huff? What if we end up with a big time edge rusher? What do we do then? That's where the good question. This is where the draft becomes interesting. We know who we want. We know, the heart wants what the heart wants. We want
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, or we want Caleb Williams, but who are we going to take? What happens if they just decide that they're going to go with Caleb Williams in the first pick? At that number 9 pick, is Rome Odunze available still?
Yeah.
Is Malik Nabers available still? Could we get somebody else? Is there a Brock Bowers out there that maybe we could pick up? Or what if we could make a trade, get a trade and move up from, I think we're in the 3rd round. What if we could move up late in the 1st round and solve all of the problems that the Bears have by picking up Jackson Powers Johnson? There's a lot to this draft that, really, and you can have a maximum of 3 picks in the 1st round of the draft for one team. So it is possible that we're out here picking up a Marvin Harrison, or we're picking up a Caleb Williams, and then we're out here picking up a Dallas Turner and Jared Verse, or a Rome Odunze and Malik Nabers,
And then we
or
really could.
Latu, and we can still go up in the 1st round and get one more guy, and it's going to be the best center in the draft, and that is Jackson Powers Johnson right here. And we've basically shored up at least 3 spots on this team for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about it.
I am too. Hey, this is the most I've ever been involved in a draft. Except I remember the Mitch Trubisky one, and then after that, I took some time away to care because that was heartbreaking. But, but honestly, this is seriously the first time I've ever been like actually analyzing the players and like reading articles about them, and it makes me excited. Like I'm waiting for April 25th. I can't wait.
I think the best part of this is Ryan Pace has made some really good decisions. I saw somebody on Twitter post the good and the bad of Ryan Poles one day, and the bad is almost a trick.
Yeah.
Because they say like, well, Chase Claypool, and they little things like that. And you look at that, and then you say, well, then you click on it, and it says, well, and here's the good list, and the good list uses up every possible character to show
it's like
how.
it's like a whole book basically.
Yes.
Like on
Yeah.
Twitter. Like,
Yeah, it's
damn,
a book of all the great things that he's done. So now all we have to do is just kind of figure out what's he going to do? What is the next big move for Ryan Poles? Is he going to, is Ryan Poles the genius that we think he is, or is he just lucky so far? That's going to be the question.
I think that's a very fair question. I just don't think it's luck. Like, I do think he generally knows what he's doing. I think a lot of people come back, though, to the fact that he kept Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different discussion, I know, but I think that for sure is like a staple that people are going to remember if this season is fucked up.
I feel like I told you that was going to happen about
You did.
2 wins in a row.
Yeah, you did. Okay, I
Way
agree too.
back
I hated him,
when.
but I did agree that they were probably going to keep him, get rid of Luke
Yeah.
Getzey, because they seem to have a good relationship. So who knows?
And so uh, what I would say in defense of Matt Eberflus, so that we can close this out, is I think that Matt I think that he's missed on some of the things that he's looked to do with this team. I think that he picked a bad defensive coordinator. I think he obviously picked a bad running backs coach. I think that he picked a. I don't think that he picked a bad offensive coordinator. I think that he picked an offensive coordinator who doesn't understand his team. And
Yeah,
if you have a true drop back quarterback, he's probably fine. He's probably fine with an Aaron Rodgers type
yeah,
guy that drop back has a little athleticism. But when you're looking at someone with the talent level of Justin Fields with his legs and you're not properly utilizing him, then I think you missed the boat. And remember, if you will, going back into the beginning of the season, there's plenty of articles, by the way, where they said that they were going to focus on Justin Fields becoming a drop back quarterback, that in practice and everything that they're doing was about converting his game to be more NFL style or something, something like that. That was
yeah,
kind of the wording that they used. And I think that that was probably a mistake, especially in a season in which, if you go back and you look at this, there were 5 games we were so close on. If we won those games, the Green Bay Packers are not in the playoffs.
yeah.
We are. And if you get lucky at the right time, who knows what happens? Who knows? Could we have been instead of could we have just somehow or another beaten San Francisco? Just you
Rock,
get lucky.
he sucked that game. So
I mean, you get lucky.
yeah, I agree.
What if we had in the playoffs? I mean, not even this, not even regular season.
Yeah, it is.
What
It's
if
just
we?
one game. You just got to
Yeah.
win the one game.
What if? There's a lot of what if in this past season for me for the Chicago Bears, and Matt Eberflus, I think, feels that too. I think they
Yeah.
get the sense that and by the way, when you do that in one year, you tend to be much better the second year when you're losing those close games. You tend to get better at winning the close games as you get more experience and stuff like that. And look around this roster, and you may not even have to fill the hole that is Eddie Jackson because he's a vocal leader.
Yeah.
Maybe you just hold on to him one more year. You get Jalen Johnson to come back. You shore up that edge rushing position. You got to get one more defensive tackle because Andrew Billings, big guy, takes up a lot of space. Gervon Dexter has been magnificent so far as a rookie. Zach Pickens hasn't really had much of an opportunity, but when he has, he's looked real big and real good. Montez Sweat's made this team a whole lot better.
Oh yeah, he was
TJ
great.
Edmonds or Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards have made this, and Jack Sanborn has come along, and man, he's done great. So this team. And by the way, just in case Jalen Johnson is gone, I have every confidence that Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Hill
Oh yeah,
are going to be a fantastic cornerback duo
me too.
if need be. I feel like this team is in such a great place right now that we just don't see it because we had those we had the losses. We had
Those
the
3 losses. I'm
yeah,
telling
we had
you.
these problems. Without those, this team is so much different. With I just again, a lot of people are like, well, you can't blame Luke Getzey for everything. No, I can't. I don't, as a matter of
You
fact.
don't. Yeah.
Um, I don't blame him for Justin Fields having a 112 rating in the first quarter. I don't blame him for Justin Fields having a 96 quarterback rating in the second quarter. I don't blame him for all of it. You know what I mean? But I did watch the product on the field. I did notice that we were playing not to lose. We weren't playing to win. We weren't pushing. We weren't We weren't making adjustments when the defense adjusted. We were not adjusting. I noticed those things, and I think a lot of people notice those things. And you get frustrated with the quarterback, obviously, but I think this team is. I think it's so close
Yeah.
to look. There's a playoff team next year. Couple wins, and it's a Super Bowl team. Just that easy. And it doesn't
I
matter to
can't
me.
wait.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter to me whether it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. It's going to happen. This is almost destiny at this point. This team is on a collision course with a Super Bowl. The only variable right now is time.
I
So I guess now is going to be a perfect time to close this thing out. So unbelievable, by the way, that we're such great selectors of.
I
We
know.
should be general managers. We should be
You should be the general manager. I will just agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Poles has given up that paycheck.
No, 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 no.
But anyway, so we're talking Marvin Harrison Jr. I think there's a consensus here that we like Justin Fields, that we're looking
We,
for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think there's a consensus here that we want an edge rusher and that we think that the edge rusher is very important. Maddie goes with Dallas Turner. I go with Jared Verse. Neither one of us chose the Watu Latu, which is probably crazy. One of us probably an idiot, probably me, most probably. But
I don't think you.
we'll see what happens in the combine. I mean, maybe just maybe. What if, by the way, what if Caleb Williams doesn't do really good and Drake May is twice as good as
We
advertised?
stay away from North Carolina quarterbacks. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, but we tried that once. We'll wait till next year then. If that's the
Well,
case.
and you know what? There was we had Trubisky, and Trubisky just didn't work out. And
Poor Trubisky.
um,
He did not.
Sam Howell is the quarterback in Washington, and Eric Bieniemy was a superhero for all the work that he did with Sam Howell. Sam Howell got benched at the end of the year. They had given up on him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this team goes and what the dynamic is. And we've got a strong offensive coaching staff now with Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown as the
Yeah.
passing coordinator, Eric Washington, the offensive line, or is it Eric?
I'm excited.
Is Eric Washington as the offensive line coach, or is he the defensive line? God damn it! Now I forget. But then you have Kerry Joseph coming in, and he's shoring up the quarterbacks. I mean, like you really have just a really good team
Yeah.
coming together, and I think this is only going to get better. I think this is the year.
I hope so. I have a lot of money saved, so this is the time for me to go.
All right. Well, maybe we'll find a sponsor and maybe they will take
Hey.
care of tickets for the year.
Speaking
So, but until then, we'll have to keep putting in the work and keep figuring out what
I'll
the
put in
next
more
step
work.
is.
Don't worry. I will. I have a normal job now. Okay.
Nice. All right. Well, until the next time, I'm Bleeves.
I'm Maddie.
We guys bear down and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.